And now we'll go on to reports and communications, beginning with Councilmember Cardoza.
Yes, we've had an exciting couple of weeks. I have a very great announcement that I would really like to start off with. I attended the Sutter County's Affordable Housing meeting, directors meeting, and I have wonderful, great news. The New Haven Court Apartments on the corner of Miles Drive and Garden Highway. The funding has all been taken care of, and we're hoping we want to break ground by the end of the month. By the end of April, we want to break ground, and so that will be a 40-unit apartment complex to help homeless veterans and the homeless in our community. So that'd be 40 units, and we're planning on breaking ground by the end of April if everything's whatever, if this will let us, but that's our goal, and this will be done by the summer of 2021. So that's great news there. I attended the Feather River Air Quality meeting yesterday via on phone with everybody. The governor is kind of taking money away from that area, but we're going to see what we can do. We do have money saved up. We'll see if we can make it and get past this hard time. I attended the Yuba City Transit Authority meeting, and through this issue that we have in our community, the Transit Authority is giving free bus rides right now at this time. That way they can enter in the back of the bus and keep the staff of the transit folks, drivers, keep them safe, and they'll enter through the back of the bus and depart from the back of the bus. And I also attended the Planning Commission meeting last week. We have great things happening in our community, and they should be coming to us here shortly, hopefully within the next month. For city events, I helped the Yuba City Police Department with a wonderful group of guys. They cooked wonderful tri-tip and sausage for the employees of the city of Yuba City and also the Sutter County Jail. So that's it for me for this 2 weeks, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. All right, Councilmember Espanola.
Thank you, Mayor. Most of the meetings that were scheduled, unfortunately, were canceled due to the coronavirus and other reasons related to that. I do have a meeting tomorrow. They're all moving towards online and video and virtual type meetings. But I do have a different topic that I wanted to bring forward to all of you this evening and see what your thoughts are on the conversation that we've had with COVID-19, some of the conversations that I've had with community members in reference to how do we really remind folks and hope that they stay home. And so I had a meeting with several individuals, all virtual online, and there were a couple of recommendations that I thought it would be helpful to hear what your thoughts are on these recommendations, and if the city would like to help support this and have our city staff work with this. The question that I asked was, how do we get people to comply with this stay home order, right? We've as we have shared over the past several weeks, all the work that our police and fire, all the different departments in our agency, how do we get people to do this? And one recommendation that I thought was actually a pretty good recommendation, and that's why I'm bringing it forward to you. And I believe some of these folks are watching tonight, so I just wanted to share that with you also. That one of them is perhaps a message from local clergy or priests or from different religions, have a recording done, a video from them, and that this video would be then put on our social media to remind folks the seriousness of this issue of stay home and how we can help each other and be a better community in that. And in that message, it would be in multiple languages, and hopefully get a clear message to the community that this is needed. And at the same time, these individuals that participate within the video messaging would also take that back to their own community members, parishioners, whoever they are, to also share that message within their community and groups. That was one recommendation. The second recommendation is that why do people stay home? Why are the majority of us, I feel like it's a majority, are following through and staying home? And could there be a message for multiple community members for 10 seconds or less? We've seen on social media different other things that have been posted on why individuals are staying home and how we can support our healthcare workers, appreciate them, understand also their time and effort and risk of their own life. So we could do a message of why I stay home and appreciate our healthcare community. So those, if we're able to support that as a city, what I'm requesting is that we have, George, who has a connection with different groups of different faith-based, and Katie, who is able to, who does our, our PIO, who is able to put these things together. So one messaging for clergy, who, get them involved, supporting that. They message that out. And the second and third of that would be 10-second messages from community members all across our community. They can send them in to us and say why I stay home. And then also a message to say something appreciative to our healthcare workers, our first responders. And that is what I'm requesting, that maybe we can do this together as a council, as a city. So I invite any input from my fellow council members and mayor and vice mayor.
Anybody have anything they want to comment on that? No comment. Did you have anything further that you want to discuss, Grace?
No, I just, so would this be okay for us to move forward with our city to work on these messaging and supporting some of these ideas that the community brought forward? Is it, or could we have further conversation on that if you're not, clear about it? I'm open to that.
Diana or Shannon, I mean, this is something in council reports that we did the last couple of weeks. It wasn't brought up during future agenda items. If she's wanting to have a decision on what the city is going to do, is obviously going to take time and money of city employees and resources. Is this the appropriate time and place to make that decision or have that discussion at the end of the council meeting?
Or become a
Mr. Mayor?
item?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Mr. Mayor, I recommend, if you're inclined to add a future agenda item, that you reopen the future agenda items section and then have that discussion there. Thank you.
Yes. Does that make sense, Grace?
It does, Mayor.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and we'll back up and reopen item number 10 for future agenda items. And Shannon, is it really necessary for her to repeat everything she just said, or she just wants to, can she just say, I move that we, as a future agenda item, that we bring up everything I just said?
Yeah, she can do that.
All right.
Okay, so I move, thank you. I move that all the items that I just mentioned be put on a future item for agenda for the council.
Okay, so that's a request. I don't think we need to vote on that. And I think just confirming, since I can't see her, Diana, we have that, or Diana and Tara, we're good to go to have this discussion later?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Grace, did you have anything else to add for what's typically discussed on number 11?
That's it, Mayor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going back to number 11 and we're continuing with Councilmember Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everything the last several weeks has been all COVID-19. Yuba Center Transit did meet. Councilmember Cardoza reported out as far as some of the changes that's been made as far as coming in the back of the bus. I've been coordinating with our city manager, letting her know the reduced bus schedules and everything that transit has been implementing, as they have a complete plan that has been developing as the COVID-19 situation continues to develop and ridership continues to decrease. You've probably noticed that there has been quite a bit decrease in the amount of buses. And as this progresses more, as Mr. Martin has said, it'll probably continue to be less and less as people are now ordered to stay at home. So as those informations come in, I will continue to forward those on so that we at the city, as well as police and fire and everything, knows what's going on with our transit authority. Outside of that, as I said, everything has been COVID-19. I've had the pleasure of being part of a national kind of group that has had some great input just to kind of help everybody wrap their heads around what's going on. I've attended some webinars from the league on funding sources. I did share this a little bit with our city manager, Ms. Langley, that the bottom line is California stands in line to get $15 billion through the stimulus package that came down from the federal government. The only problem with that is the only municipalities that will get any direct financial aid is those that have a population greater than 500,000. And that pretty much takes us out of the loop on that. So the rest of the money that doesn't go to those municipalities goes to the state of California. And at current, the state of California is not under any mandate to share those resources down to the smaller municipalities that's under 500,000. The league is planning on and is pursuing trying to change, California's mind, so to speak, to send some of that money down, because as you've noticed the past couple of weeks, every directive that the governor has been giving to individuals, to businesses trying to stimulate the economy, it has a secondary effect on us as a municipality. And so we need to be fully aware of what we are faced with. One of the most recent ones that has hit has been the sales tax deferral, which for many of our businesses, it's a $50,000 deferral for 1 year. And it's not a grant or a loan. They have to pay it back in 1 year. But if you start thinking of businesses using that to keep them afloat during these times, we will start seeing an impact with our cash flow probably in May and June, as it lags behind what people actually are collecting from the businesses. So knowing that that's ahead of us, I know that we've been having discussions as we've looked at the threats, because a decrease in revenue is definitely a threat, and we have to look at this, as we've all said, in making these assessments, just like a business. All of our businesses have to look at this. We got to look at this at the city, and I'm very confident that we're having the right discussions, and we are forward looking. I want to thank our city team for already taking a look at these. Spencer Morrison, who's our finance director, has sent us out reports, and I want to thank Spencer for that, and whatnot. I also want to thank everybody's been doing a great job. It's a lot to digest. Councilmember Espanola, hit on some good points. We do need to be encouraged through this time. This is not going to be a sprint. This is going to be a marathon. But as it's been said many times, this too shall pass, and we will make it through this together. And so I'm just glad that I serve with the four of you on this council right now, because I feel like we're having a lot of the right discussions to get this city through it. So with that, I will report back later once we have more information from the league. If I have any more information from the national group that I'm affiliated with, and let's just stay strong, Yuba City.
All right, thank you, Dave. Vice Mayor Boomgarden.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and do more thanking than talking about what I've been doing, but I do want to acknowledge the fact that this council has been extremely engaged. We meet at least weekly as a group. We also have, as you've heard tonight, different subgroups meeting, listening to the community, taking in the wants and the needs and filtering those all through the essential services that city government is intended to provide. I also want to make sure that I thank the city workers, city staff for what are doing for the city. These are extraordinary times, and our city staff has performed well, I believe. I also had the opportunity to visit the Bi-County Emergency Operations Center and personally meet with Robert Bendorf, who is the Yuba County Administrative Officer, who is essentially heading this effort, this Bi-County effort, and also met with Dr. Liu. This is an incredibly complex emergency to manage, and it's easy to sit on the sidelines and lob shots at what people think they should or shouldn't be doing. But I'm convinced, after having spent some time over there, that they're doing their best, and we all deserve to give them some patience. The biggest thing that we can do as a community to help them is to pay attention to the shelter in place and the social distancing, so that we don't have the numbers of COVID cases continue to rise. Other than that, as Councilwoman Espanola mentioned, I do think that, increased emphasis on outreach is an important concept. We need to make sure that all aspects of the 68,000 plus of Yuba City are aware of the opportunities for them to seek aid where it is available and support those organizations that are providing that aid. But I also want to thank the four of you. We've got our sleeves rolled up. We're engaged with staff, and we're doing our darn best here to move the city through what is going to be, has been mentioned, a marathon, not a sprint. Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you. I really, very well said. It's so important to recognize the sacrifice and all the staff being so nimble. People wearing different hats they've never really maybe found themselves wearing before, but all contributing to moving the city through this crisis. And it's really been a remarkable experience. So all of our department heads, every staff there, all the way down, they're really stepping up and doing a great job. I was sitting here this morning working on some stuff and saw our street sweeper drive by. He's doing his job, keeping things clean out there, and just appreciate those little things like that when we're out here coming together. So it's really good to see. It is a crisis. It is a tragedy. People are unfortunately dying, and I concur, of course, that we need to do everything we can to get the word out, to get people to finally, some cases finally, take it seriously, because there's endangering everybody, themselves and all of us, by not complying with what is now in order. So yes, I agree. Thank yous are in order, and it will be probably many more to come too, because once this is over, we're going to probably hear a lot of heroic activities that are occurring right now, not the least of which is in our medical community. Grace mentioned these people go to work every day with the knowledge that they are coming into contact with people with that virus, multiple people, and yet they continue to step up, and that's really remarkable and impressive. So I too, my meetings and things I typically go through during the course of the month has been, I can comfortably say, all COVID-19 related. Meetings have been moved to online, if not canceled altogether, postponed. The important things, or what we're doing, is managing this crisis. And yes, we do meet once a week, if not more. I know we do multiple phone calls and texting and keeping up with things on the internet, just so we can do what we can, what our role is as a city, to get us through this. And it's been, I think, incredibly smooth so far. And the reason for that is we knew on the front end, before this even happened, that the importance and of communication, and especially internally. so we can get that out there, the one message out there, and stand by shoulder to shoulder with everybody that works for the city to get through this. So kudos to everybody so far. We're not, apparently we're still on the uphill side of the curve, but we have more to come, more hard work to come, but I think we're ready for the task and we'll get through it. So unless anybody has anything, I will adjourn at this time. All right, well, thank you all very much. And Brian, if you're still with us, Diana, Terrell, I know there had to been some work going into setting this virtual meeting up. I would not have had a clue how to do it, but thank you for that. And I think it went, for our first go at it, it went quite well. So thank you for that. And we're adjourned, and you all have a good night and stay safe.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Vice Mayor.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.